And joining us right now is Delroy Burton. He is the chairman of the D.C. Police Union, and we always love touching base with Mr. Burton. Thanks for joining us, sir.
Good morning, Larry. Good morning, Brian. How you guys
Good
doing?
morning.
We're okay. We just, we get so weary of all of these stories in the media that seem to focus on isolated incidents with police officers, and it sort of paints we don't like the way the media paints the broad picture of, this major problem with police across the country, and we want to know how it's affecting the men in blue here in the district. So that kind of an open general question to start things off. How's the morale with our cops?
I think overall it's pretty good, but they've been affected like all other police officers around the country by the negative overgeneralization whenever an incident occurs anywhere in the United States. Take, for example, the Texas incident. Every single so-called controversial incident that occurs now becomes the next big story. And before we even know all the facts of what happened in that case, we have people jumping to conclusions and demonizing what was an excellent police officer. And I'm really disappointed that he chose to resign instead of staying on, because we don't know everything that happened yet. And from my observations in that video, there may have been some tactical improvements needed in that situation, but overall I thought he did everything he was supposed to do and did it correctly.
Well, I want to pick up on that. Why do you say that? Because the police chief said he was out of control. He was the only, there were 11 cops on the scene, and he was the only one that was out of control.
Clearly he identified people who needed to be stopped, and he was actively stopping them. He was moving. I didn't see any of the other police officers moving from place to place and stopping anyone. The way that this has been reported is that he used too much force on a 15-year-old black girl in a bikini. Now, that's all coded words. And then he pulled his gun on two unarmed teenagers. Well, if you look at the video, the 15-year-old is resisting being stopped. So he has to use force to stop her and control her. She's not wearing hardly any clothes, which makes it much more difficult. Once he has her stopped, those two individuals run up behind him, and it looked to me like had he not turned around and drawn his weapon, he probably would have been assaulted. So they don't report the facts, which is what the video shows. They just mischaracterize it as he pulled his gun on two unarmed teenagers, which is just absolutely wrong.
That's very interesting.
Yeah, I guess the part that troubled me about it was the young woman in the bikini seemed to be at least 20 feet away from the officer, and he went out of his way to go and get her and grab her out of the group that she was standing in. Apparently because he didn't like what she was saying to him. I don't know. In a big crowd situation like that, it seems to me that maybe a peace officer, even if the person is saying something inappropriate, the discretion needs to be the better part of valor at that point, doesn't it? Rather than escalate it.
And I actually agree with you in that part, because that's one of the observations I made about the way he handled the situation. What you want people to do in a circumstance like that is if you ask them to leave and they are leaving, and they're talking, so what?
Yeah.
Let them walk away. You've accomplished what your goal is. And, based on some of the video I've looked at, the explanation from his attorney, I can understand he was probably a bit agitated, and he let his emotions get the best of him in that circumstance and didn't let her walk away, which he probably should have done. But, let's say he did that incorrectly. We haven't investigated that whole scene yet. We haven't heard his point of view and what he was thinking when he took those actions. We haven't heard from the other police officers, and we haven't heard from all the witnesses on the scene. And for everybody to already conclude that he was, he's guilty of excessive force, he's guilty of racial profiling, he's guilty of abuse in office, it's ridiculous. There is no evidence for that.
Let me just take a bigger picture here. I mean, we had the situation in Ferguson, which put up a lot of people on edge about the actions of police, and I think wrongly. We had the situation in Baltimore. I think there's some open questions there, but it's beginning to look more and more as if the police officers were asked to do what they were doing. I mean, they were asked to go in by the prosecutor and crack down on a drug market. It came in directly from the prosecutor. It went to like a commander. It came down to lieutenant, went to the rank and file out on the street and said, go down there and fix this problem. And then it ended up, being a sort of a tough place to do business, and then the Freddie Gray occurred, whatever happened there. Then you have the situation in McKinney. It seems to me that police officers increasingly are under scrutiny for everything they do. How does that manifest itself as you go out on patrol each day?
It makes people question absolutely everything you do and the motive that drives why you do it. and the way the reporting has been characterized, they tend to always look at it in racial terms. And in most instances, it has nothing to do with race. I'm not saying there aren't racist actions taken by police officers. That would be absurd. But in the vast majority of encounters with citizens and police officers, race is not the issue. It's the action of the person that drives the response of the police officer. And with the increased scrutiny, now every little thing a police officer does is either racist or in some way unconscious bias or excessive. And people are being more and more combative with police officers, which is dangerous. So, you know, in the case of Baltimore, it shows that the state's attorney's office, they have demonstrated a level of unprofessional conduct that I've never seen in my 21 years of policing. You cannot have it both ways. You can't ask the police to go in there and take care of a problem, and if something goes wrong, you blame the police. And the way you handle the case suggests that there's bias in that office. And I think if they really want justice to be done in the case of Freddie Gray, then the Baltimore City State's Attorney's Office has to be taken off this case, and it has to be handled by another office and in another venue, because there's absolutely no way those officers can be treated fairly based on the circumstances that are in Baltimore right now.
Well, thank you for that. I completely agree with you. And I'd love to ask you, though, from a cop's perspective, after that email was sent from the prosecutor's office about cracking down, here's what the cops were told in writing. Now I'm reading the email from the shift commander. It says they want increased productivity, whether it be car stops, field interviews, arrests. That's what they mean by measurables. You're going to have to be aggressive. Now, in a normal circumstance, if a Kenny Gray if it looks at you and then starts running away, would a cop normally chase after? Or when they get marching orders like this, that there's supposed to be a crackdown, could that have been the motivation for running after him?
Well, it goes back to when we were little kids, we were playing cops and robbers. I'm the police, you're the bad guy. If I come into the area and it's a bad area and we have had contact with you and we have history with you and you take off running, it suggests to me, from my experience, that you have something to hide. Most of the guys that don't have anything on them, that don't have anything to hide, they don't run from the police. Even in so-called bad neighborhoods, they stand around. Like, look, I don't have anything. You can check me if you want. I got nothing.
Yeah. Delrip, we got to leave it there. It's always great talking to you, and we hope to continue to have you back as these stories unfortunately continue.
Thanks a lot.
Well, thank you, guys, and I appreciate the fact that you all bring some balance to the discussion.
Thank you, sir.
That's what we try to do.